Hey, what's up YouTube? Sky Badger here, and I'm back with a tips and tricks video in Call of War 1942. So, today I want to talk about trading. Trading has been something that you guys, well, a few of you guys have asked me to talk about a few times now. So, I have some spare time, so I may as well just dive in and do it. So, trading is something fairly simple to do, but there are a few rules and things you should know. So, to trade in the first place, you go to diplomacy. You find an ally or the person you want to trade with. They have to be an actual player. You can't trade with AIs. You click the mail button and then you go and you trade. So you can trade a few things. You can trade resources, armies, relations, and provinces. We're going to start with relations because you will do a lot of trading relations in Call of War. So you just click relations, and if you want to give relations, that's fairly easy. You have trade embargo, which means they can't buy your goods on the market and you can't buy their goods on the market. You have peace, and peace is what you're always at most of the time. Right of way means if you give them right of way, they can travel on your land, but they cannot see your troops. And shared map is shared map, so that gives you, the advantages of right of way. You can use, they can use your air bases and see all your troops, all your land. So that is the relation. So if you remember that when you select we give, that's what you're giving them. It is important that you also select what you want in return. Now in return you can also get shared intelligence if the person has high command. Now there is a way around that. Shared intelligence, if you are in a coalition, you automatically get shared intelligence, so you may as well just create a coalition. It's easier and cheaper. But it is really important to select the relationship you want in return, okay? So that is relationships. They're fairly easy to trade. Just make sure that if you're trying to return to peace with someone, that you don't have, bombers en route to bomb a location, or you don't have missiles launching, so that when they do accept the trade, there's not a conflict going on, or else it will just go to peace briefly and then revert straight back to war. Next, we'll go resources. So resources are fairly easy to trade. You can only trade what you have, so bear that in mind. Don't trade any more than you have to. And, just remember that you've got to look after yourself first. So, like I said, you can only trade what you have. So, just keep in mind that the person may not accept it straight away. So, you may put a trade for, we'll give them 5,000 oil if, I don't know, they give us peace. Peace is good. But if, say they take an hour to accept that, if in that hour you spend some of that oil, that trade will no longer work because you do not have the oil to give them. So make sure that you always have the amount of resources you plan to give. That's really all there is to say about trading resources. I'd just like to add also, while we're at that point, you can trade anything for anything. So I can trade resources for provinces, other resources, for armies, relations. So you can definitely negotiate. Right, so we've covered resources and relations. Next we'll go to provinces. So trading provinces is a little hard because you need to remember the name of the province you want to trade, and that can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, especially if you want to trade a few. Now the thing with trading provinces is you can only trade one a week, okay? And that is just to stop your pesky gold users with multiple accounts from capturing heaps of land and just trading all the land back to one account, so they become super powerful. So keeping that in mind, you can only trade one province a week, I'm pretty sure, and you can't trade provinces in the first week of a game either. At least that's how it is on the world map. So you do have to remember the name of your province, and you do have to find it, and it gives you a list of their provinces as well. So you have to find that as well. And that can often be pretty hard and pretty annoying to do, especially if you're trying to negotiate with them and you got to send them messages and ask to trade certain provinces. It can be a whole challenge sometimes. But last on the list when it comes to trading is armies. Now, Armies you trade in groups. Because I can't see his units, I can't, you know, ask for any armed groups of them. He'd have to trade them to me, or else you could kind of use this kind of as a cheat almost, because with this player I don't have shared map, I can't see his troops. If I was able to come into here, I'd be able to see all of his army groups, and like, at the moment you can see, these are all the troops I have. So one of the tricks with trading armies is you can only trade 10% of your forces. So if we go into diplomacy, back to information, and have a look at my information, I only have 145 troops. So do the maths incredibly quickly in my head. That's roughly 14 troops I can trade. And that is the maximum I can trade in a day. 14 troops. So you can only trade 10% of your forces at a time. You can't do any more than that. Other than that, there is no limitations to how many troops you can trade. So you could potentially, if you had 1,000 troops, I've had 1,000 troops before, you can trade and give someone 100 of them. But you can't give any more than 10%. A thing about trading troops though is you need to be careful when and where you trade them. Like you never ever trade your troops and give control of your troops to any player if they're in the middle of your territory. Maybe if they're a good ally, you might, but especially if you're at peace with them, don't leave the troops in the middle of your land, or else they won't be able to get out. I advise that any troops you trade, you send them onto the ocean. You send them out to sea, and then you send the trade, okay? Because if you trade with someone and you give them a massive army in the middle of your home territory, then they could take the advantage of that and they could destroy you from the inside out. So that is my advice on when it comes to trading. I'm just going to go back there and double check I haven't missed anything. But really, to be honest, there's not much more you need to know than that. You can, the groups when it comes to trading armies have to be together. So I can't trade individual units, but I can trade army groups. So just keep that in mind, that you're trading the whole group, not just a tactical bomber and the second tactical bomber wing. So you can also trade anything for anything. Resources, you can only trade what you have. Relations, be sensible, and don't give shared map and stuff to any odd Joe, and always make sure that what you're trading is of value. So just don't make silly trades. Also, when it comes to alliances and stuff and coalitions, quite often trading units can be a good idea. So if you, for example, want to focus on building up your air force, but you need a navy, so you want to research your navy, but you're too busy researching air force. Just you can always trade and have another member of your coalition, maybe focus on the navy, and they build up a strong navy, and then just trade troops to the rest of the coalition. That is often a good idea, but there is one problem with that, and this will be my final point, is that any troops you trade will stay at the level they are. They do not upgrade with the rest of your troops. So if I, for example, traded someone a straight level 1 tactical bomber, that bomber would never ever go up another level. Even if the said player I traded to then proceeds to upgrade his tactical bombers, the one I traded him would stay at that level forever, okay? So traded units do not upgrade. I'm pretty sure that's not a bug and it is a feature, but I could be wrong there, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're trading units, that it is best to trade them once they're at their max level. That way you don't end up with weaker troops hanging around. Now at the same time, that can be useful for making the most of stat-based damage efficiency. So because they're different levels, if you have different level tactical bombers, they don't stack in the same group. So you can, I wouldn't recommend having, a group of max level, a group of level 5, a group of level 4, a group of level 3. But, having a group of level 5 and 6 tactical bombers together in the same stack wouldn't actually be a bad idea. That way you would make the most of stat-based damage efficiency. So that is all I have to say when it comes to trading. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as you could enjoy a video on Call of War, and thank you for watching.